Today on TimesCast.
I want to be clear. This continues to be a very difficult endeavor.
The White House releases its year-end assessment of the war in Afghanistan.
Let me share with you all of our tactics right here.
Republicans and Democrats wrangle votes in the final days of the lame duck session. And Thursday night, Larry King's last show after 25 years on CNN.
For here, it's time to hang up the nightly suspenders.
The White House released an assessment of its strategy in Afghanistan a year after President Obama announced the deployment of an additional 30,000 troops. The report concludes that despite uneven progress, American forces can begin to withdraw on schedule in July.
In Afghanistan, we remain focused on the three areas of our strategy. Our military effort to break the Taliban's momentum and train Afghan forces so they can take the lead. Our civilian effort to promote effective governance and development, and regional cooperation, especially with Pakistan.
And today we begin a series looking at the most important stories of 2010 with Kabul Bureau Chief Alyssa Rubin on the year in Afghanistan.
These 2 years, 2010, 2011, on every front in Afghanistan are years where people have very high hopes.
Within Afghanistan, I've ordered the deployment of additional troops who, under the command of General David Petraeus, are fighting to break the Taliban's momentum.
Any aircraft on the station.
What we're seeing now is how very difficult it is to make fast progress here on every front. Without pretty rapid development, Afghanistan is probably going to disappoint the West, which works essentially on a different time schedule.
Amazing, I got it.
About a year ago, when the Marja offensive happened, Marja became this symbol of a place that was held by the Taliban that the largely American troops set out to reclaim.
You look at a place like Marja, the Taliban control that area.
Now I would say we're about 10 months in, and it is largely rid of Taliban. There's been an enormous amount of money and effort poured into it, and it is still not entirely stable, although it has things like a police station and some form of local government. But there are, I don't know if one would say hundreds of marjas or thousands of marjas or tens of marjas. The fact is those remain either in the Taliban's sway or terribly impoverished and not really clear where they want their allegiance to be. If we look sort of more broadly around the country, military problems were not confined to the South.
2-6, you're gonna do the drop in like 30 seconds. Let your boys know.
There's a constant flow of different radical groups through eastern Afghanistan. So the overall picture in Afghanistan is a very unstable one.
Afghanistan is a country that knows its business well.
On the governance front, on corruption, President Karzai has proved to be extremely difficult for the West to work with.
We will continue to ask for cash help from Iran.
One doesn't want to just give up and say, well, we're in this bog and can't make any progress. It is very difficult to see a path forward that really will leave us in a markedly different place at the end of next year.
Republicans and Democrats in Congress wrangle for votes in the final days of the lame duck session.
We're ready to be here late. We're ready to be here all weekend. We are ready to work and vote.
It seems to me that the process that we've embarked upon here is an inappropriate process.
We're here on Capitol Hill where the snow is falling. It's a rancorous race to the finish of the 111th Congress, with Democrats and Republicans still at each other's throats to the bitter end.
Some of my Republican colleagues have the nerve to whine about having to stay and actually do the work the American people pay us to do.
I think the Democrat leadership looks incompetent.
Well, this is supposed to be a lame duck session, but it's been anything but lame so far. The House today takes action on the big tax agreement between the White House and Republicans, and then there's a huge fight on a big spending measure that Democrats have put forward to keep the government running through the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. Beyond that, there's the START arms control treaty already on the floor in the Senate. Finally, the House yesterday passed a standalone repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the ban on open service by gay and lesbian soldiers. The Senate may take that up, even coming back after Christmas to do so.
I hope the Senate, and I urge the Senate to join the House and vote for responsible end to Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
The Senate Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, today waved around a one-page stopgap spending measure. He thinks that's basically all the Senate should do after passing the tax cut deal, turn out the lights and go home. But the Majority Leader, Harry Reid, and Democrats are insisting they're going to get through their busy agenda, even coming back after Christmas if necessary. So we'll go through the weekend into next week and see what gets done.
And Thursday night is Larry King's final show on CNN.
Mr. Stelter, Larry King today. Last show, 50,000 interviews, 25 years. If I were Larry King, and let's just say I'm not, what do we make of that, Brian?
It's remarkable, isn't it? I can't imagine that anyone who replaces him is going to get as diverse the guests as Larry got, and to get as many years to do it. You know, we talk a lot the last couple of years about Larry King sagging ratings, that he isn't what he used to be, and that's true. In a way, cable news has passed him by. Cable news is all about opinion now and partisanship. It's not about the interview.
He just wants to sit down and have a chat, oftentimes on a subject of general interest.
Yeah, whatever's on his mind that night.
So let's assume I'm Larry King one more time. I'll adjust the glasses,
that's right,
the weird loud tie, and say to you, I'm going to put you on the spot here. The 3 best Larry King moments ever.
You have to put the O.J. Simpson car chase on there. This is, you know, the event that he was known for. Really, the story he was known for was the Simpson trial. You'd have to put Lady Gaga this year. This crazy interview.
What is that pressure like?
It's not like any other kind of pressure. It's not under pressure. It's not water pressure.
She was kind of interviewing herself, really.
And he dialed in from outer space, and she called from Venus. Right. It was a great television moment.
It was. And then, you know, I don't want to be sentimental, but you got to put on his fundraisers for Katrina and his fundraisers for Haiti. There were times where he really actually brought the world together. That's going to be hard for anybody else to do in the future.
These are very large shoes and shoes of a certain era. Do you think anybody will fill them?
Gosh, if you're a celebrity that's screwed up big time, what show do you go on?
Yep.
Oprah's ending, yes. Larry's ending. Matt Lauer maybe, Diane Sawyer, but there's very few people left.
Join us again tomorrow for TimesCast.